Drug cartels destroyed on the high seas, China and Russia joining forces in military parades, and U.S. troops preparing to defend cities at home. Tonight, we connect the dots on a story that spans from the Caribbean to Beijing. What does this mean for America's future, and for global security? Stay with us, because the answers may surprise you. Welcome to Global Insight News. Tonight, we bring you a major story that is drawing international attention and sparking strong debate across the Americas and beyond. In recent days, the U.S. government carried out a high-profile operation against narcotics traffickers attempting to transport illegal drugs across the Caribbean. A video released by the administration showed a boat, allegedly linked to a dangerous criminal network, being destroyed in what officials described as a precise and deliberate strike. The president made it clear in his message, those attempting to smuggle deadly substances into the United States should consider themselves warned. This operation targeted a group identified as part of the Tren de Aragua, a criminal organization previously designated by U.S. authorities for trafficking narcotics and fueling violence across the region. According to U.S. defense officials, the 11 individuals aboard the vessel were confirmed members of the network. The strike, they stressed, was carried out with precision, backed by intelligence that confirmed both the individuals involved and their intent. The defense secretary emphasized that this was not an isolated action. He described it as part of a broader strategy to secure America's borders, disrupt organized crime, and prevent the flow of dangerous drugs into U.S. communities. Last year alone, the United States reported over 100,000 deaths linked to drug overdoses, an alarming statistic that underscores the urgency of these operations. Officials also pointed to the wide range of U.S. assets operating in the region, from naval ships and aircraft to specialized units of Marines. The message, they say, is clear: attempts to traffic narcotics through U.S. waters will be met with decisive action. But this military strike has also triggered geopolitical reactions. Reports indicate that Venezuelan leader Nicolas Maduro has reached out to allies, including China, expressing concern and seeking diplomatic backing. China, in turn, has issued statements warning against actions that could infringe on the sovereignty of other nations. American officials, however, pushed back strongly on this narrative. They argued that the real issue lies with Maduro himself, who, according to U.S. indictments, faces serious charges including narcotics trafficking. Officials described him as the head of what they call a narco-state, and insisted that his alliances with global powers would not deter Washington from acting in defense of its citizens and interests. When pressed about the possibility of regime change in Venezuela, defense officials were careful to state that such decisions rest solely with the president. They reiterated, however, that U.S. military assets remain prepared to respond to threats in the region as directed. The conversation then shifted to a broader look at global security. Recent displays of military cooperation between China, Russia, and even North Korea have raised questions about shifting alliances and growing challenges to U.S. influence. China recently hosted a parade showcasing advanced weapons, with leaders such as Vladimir Putin and Kim Jong-un in attendance. Analysts argue that these displays are partly symbolic, but also serve as reminders of the geopolitical landscape. U.S. officials acknowledged the growing cooperation between Russia and China, but insisted that America retains overwhelming strategic advantages, whether in air, sea, space, or cyber capabilities. The administration has repeatedly emphasized its policy of peace through strength, stressing that deterrence, not conflict, remains the goal. Domestically, another contentious issue has emerged: the deployment of National Guard forces to American cities facing surges in crime and unrest. A recent court ruling in California questioned the legality of federal deployments, but defense officials expressed confidence that the decision would be overturned. They argued that the National Guard operated within the law, protecting federal buildings and agents when state authorities struggled to maintain order. Officials highlighted the example of Washington, D.C., where National Guard support, combined with local and federal law enforcement, helped restore stability after weeks of unrest. Crime rates in the capital, they claim, have since dropped significantly. The administration has indicated that similar deployments could be considered for cities such as Chicago, Baltimore, or New Orleans, provided there is cooperation from local authorities. The Secretary of Defense, himself a former National Guard member, spoke directly about the Guard's capabilities and limits. He underscored that National Guard units are well trained to support law enforcement and protect communities when necessary. He also emphasized that their role is not about escalation, but about ensuring that ordinary citizens can live safely in their neighborhoods. Critics, however, point to concerns about federal overreach and the potential militarization of domestic law enforcement. Governors in states like Illinois and Maryland have expressed reluctance to accept federal support, insisting that local solutions should take precedence. This ongoing tension between state and federal authority continues to spark debate about the best path forward for ensuring both safety and accountability. As this story unfolds, one theme remains consistent: the U.S. government is signaling a more aggressive posture against narcotics traffickers, foreign adversaries, and domestic instability. At the same time, it insists that its ultimate goal is not war, but deterrence and protection of the American people. From the Caribbean to Caracas, from Beijing to Chicago, the ripple effects of these policies are being felt worldwide. Allies and adversaries alike are watching closely to see how Washington balances force with diplomacy, deterrence with dialogue, and domestic safety with constitutional limits. This is a developing story, and Global Insight News will continue to monitor updates as they emerge. So now, we want to hear from you. Do you believe stronger military action is the right way to combat narcotics trafficking and international threats? Or should the U.S. place greater emphasis on diplomacy and cooperation with other nations? Share your thoughts in the comments below. And if you found this analysis informative, don't forget to like this video, subscribe to Global Insight News, and hit the bell icon so you never miss our in-depth coverage of global events. Thank you for watching, and we'll see you in the next report.